You gotta love when it gets to that point after a Cars movie's release where Mattel just becomes relentless and they don't stop releasing every form of Lightning McQueen and Mater under the sun. Well, this is definitely a product of that. In 2020, they were kind of searching for, just every kind of car they could do from Cars 3 because they wanted to keep the hype from that third movie going as long as possible. And so they did Muddy Rusty's Racing Center Lightning McQueen. I mean, it's not like he didn't appear, didn't have like a cool little couple of seconds of screen time, but I don't know. I definitely think like maybe the Thunder Hollow announcer should have gotten released before this guy. But I'm not saying nothing bad. I'm not, he's cool and all. I think that the detail on the mud looks really cool from what I've seen of him online and just looking through his plastic prison. So I really am excited to get into this review. I hope you guys are excited to watch it. So welcome on back to the Cars Garage, everyone. Gonna be reviewing the Muddy Rusty's Racing Center Lightning McQueen today. This is one that I've wanted to open up and add to my collection for a while, despite how I just started complaining about him. Because, well, you just start thinking, like, how many other cars could they have done before this guy? I mean, they only released him like 4 years after the movie's release, or 3 years after the movie's release, I guess, 18, 19, 20. So yeah, he was new in 2020, then they re-released him in 2021, and this is his 2023 singles release that I'm going to be opening up today from Case G of 2023 singles. So he got on the Red Riders packaging just before they started switching over to the Redder Riders packaging. And if you're wondering how I found him, well, I found him at Dollarama stores. Actually, I don't believe I found this guy. I think it was just my sister that found him in London. Yeah, I never found this guy. There's like 3 different cases of cars that were being sold at the Dollarama early in 2024 / late in 2023. I guess it was kind of both. But Case G of 2023 singles was one of them. Just a half count cases, by the way, with only 12 cars. And this guy was in that half count case, so that's how I got him. I actually got 2. But yeah, kind of a rare one because I don't really remember hearing anybody else find this guy too prominently. So yeah, he goes for, I don't know, around $15 online or so. So kind of a nice one, but he's just gotten too many releases now that he's not really like worth really anything. But I think when he was first released in 2020, I feel like he was rare for a tiny bit of time. But there was a lot of cool cars released in 2020. So I don't know, maybe he just kind of fell under the radar. Really cool artwork though. I've always really loved it a lot. How he's like leaning to the side and he's like, I don't know, it's weird. The proportions are kind of like weird but cool, like his front wheel just looks so giant and so does his front fender and then like his face, but then everything else kind of looks tiny. It's like he's just kind of like coming at you. It's cool though. I love how they changed it, because they easily could have just done the regular Rusty's Racing Center McQueen artwork, or even, well, they couldn't have really done Chester Whipple filter, because that one really looked right. Still waiting on a re-release for him, because I'd really love to see his artwork used. I know we've seen it before, I think, on like stickers and stuff like that, but I don't think we've ever actually seen it used on packaging before. Look at the detail, though. That's one thing in Cars 3, they really nailed that detail with like all this, the little tiny effects, like the mud and all of that. Like, the animation really improved from Cars 1 and even 2. They really did a great job in the movie, and it looks like on this diecast too, with showing off the mud. I was just barely there, Mr. Drippy already cleaned up McQueen, but he still got a little bit of mud, but not enough to kind of like hide the fact that he is Lightning McQueen, kind of blew his cover, old Mr. Drippy. I always seem to hear people asking about Mr. Drippy now. I think he's become kind of desirable. He hasn't been released in a while, and he probably won't be released anymore, which is sad to think about, because we don't have a deluxe line. So if they were to re-release him, they'd probably put him in like some kind of Amazon multi-pack or something, and I just don't see it. I think they'll definitely do like Miss Ritter down the road, maybe Dr. Damage and RV, but I doubt they'll do Mr. Drippy, which just sucks. Anyway, so on the back, look at this card back. As seen in Cars 3, we got Jet Robinson, Rich Mixon, new variant, Pushover, who ended up getting canceled, unfortunately, and Fair Game, such a great re-release. Leroy Hemming, I was going to call him Leroy Traffic for some reason. Then Dirt Track Fabulous Hudson Hornet, and then the man himself, which is kind of weird that he's on the back of his own packaging. Muddy Rusty's Racing Center Lightning McQueen. Either way, though, guys, I'll be right back with this good old fashioned Lightning McQueen all opened up. Usually when reviewing cars that have only ever been made from Thailand, I always find myself wishing that they had been made from China before, because for the most part China makes cars better than Thailand, at least in my opinion, and I would say in the opinion of almost everybody, because they just knew how to do it, you know? They would most times get the paint right, it'd be the perfect color, they'd always nail the expressions, and then the decals were always very nice and crisp. But with Thailand, they don't really do that, you know? They usually darken cars up quite a bit, or sometimes make them way too bright, like Holly Shipwell in 2020, of course. Made her pink. We'll move on from that, though. But you know what they do a really good job at? It's definitely the cars that are like really rusty, really snowy, or really muddy. And this guy is really muddy, and he's also really wet. So that's like two things they really had to do to nail this guy, make him perfect, and I think they did him just so amazing. I think this car is just peak Thailand. I don't think you can get any better than this. This looks absolutely amazing with the wet, cloudy effects, but he's also still muddy. You know, he's not covered in mud like Chester Ripple Filter, of course. But, I mean, honestly, you put these two next to each other and say they're both made from the same company, it's almost hard to believe. It's like laughable. This looks like almost like a cheap knockoff when you look at him next to this, because like this is shiny, but also almost like in a way matte. It's not matte, but it almost appears that way because the cloudiness. This is really cool, and the mud is just, it all ties together so nicely. It's just a perfect car in my opinion. And I haven't even zoomed it in yet to take a closer look at him. I don't even need to, but I will in just a second. Either way, I'll show you where he appears at in Cars 3. Of course, Mr. Drippy, he falls over after the whole demo derby has gone on because Cruz was about to crash into him. He swerved, he fell over in front of McQueen, who was stuck in the mud, just escaped the wrath of Miss Fritter, of course. And obviously when Mr. Drippy fell in front of him, his tank exploded on impact, and it just, all the water came out. Splash McQueen, drenched him completely, and all the mud came off of him, blowing his disguise of Chester Whipple Filter. Everybody knew it was McQueen. The two pitties, one Breaker Boggs, of course, we just got released recently, both came up next to him to snap a picture with him with a sign behind him saying, "Got my tires dirty at Thunder Hollow." I mean, it's just perfect. I think it was a really funny scene, and this diecast is just straight out of the movie. Even the expression is just absolutely perfect. But yeah, zooming on in now and take a closer look at this guy. The expression. It's just perfect, like I just said. It's absolutely straight out of the film. Really couldn't have gotten any better than this. He's very shocked, nervous, because obviously, he doesn't want this to go on the news. And then obviously Jackson Storm, Chick Hicks is going to see this, make fun of him. And he did. Chick Hicks did make fun of him when, it all got publicized, of course. That was a funny little scene. I like the camaraderie between McQueen, or I guess, would that be the right word? I don't know, but you can still sense a tense relationship between McQueen and Chick. Like, they're not buddies, obviously, in Cars 3. I don't think they really interact with each other at all. It's just, I thought it was it was pretty cool. I wish that Chick Hicks would have somehow teamed up with Jackson Storm, and it would have been a big thing somehow, the two villains. But I don't know. Either way, yeah. Just a really, really nice car. The cloudy effects on him, like I said, just perfect. Absolutely perfect. He almost looks like he has a matte finish, but obviously he doesn't. You can see the gloss, which Thailand is definitely known for. They make cars very glossy a lot of the times. And in this case, yeah, it works because he is a metallic car and then has dirt and water and, mud, all kinds of stuff all splattered onto him. So it just really looks great. Really, really can't stress that enough. His wheels look perfect. I mean, look at that. It's even better than what they've done even more recently, because this first came out in 2020, of course, got released in 2021, and then came back for 2023. He was even in a 5-pack in 2023 with Breaker Boggs. But yeah, it looks better than some of the things they made after this. Griswold, for example, the mud on her tires doesn't even look half as good as this. Like, I don't know what it is. It just looks really, really well done. I would say the base and like the bottom parts of the tires, that's just a flat brown, but it's fine. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to detail all that down there. He does actually have I didn't realize that. He has the two holes on the base for Mater to be able to tow him. Because, yeah, I guess he was released after 2022, so that makes sense. But you can see the 95 peeking through there. You can see the lightning bolt. Technically, if you wanted to get like really accurate, then one of his back tires would have been popped, obviously. But they didn't do that, and it's fine. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But you know how the scene goes. Miss Fritter gets her school bus sign obviously stuck in McQueen's back tire. I forget if it was the left or right one, but either way, it gets stuck back there and pops the tire. I think it pops the tire, right? At least gets stuck. I'm pretty sure it pops the tire. Maybe not, though. Maybe it doesn't get. Well, if that's the case, if it doesn't get popped, then why didn't he just. I mean, either way, why didn't he just move out of the way? I guess he just didn't have enough reaction time. I'm not sure. He definitely could have probably escaped that, though. I mean, if he was really worried about his cover, I think he should have just moved out of the way. Or, like, somehow immersed himself back into the mud or something, to try to keep his cover going. But, I don't know. Either way, yeah, it just looks perfect. I can't say that enough. Look at this. The design. Every little detail is there with the mud and the water, the cloudiness. It's just absolutely perfect. I'm shocked. I mean, I know this is a diecast. It's not necessary. It's very clunky name. Once you start getting, you have two different names in front of the real name of the car. Muddy and Rusty's Racing Center. You put them together. Then you kind of ran out of ideas, I guess, as some might say. Mattel being the ones that ran out of the ideas. But I don't know. It's so cool. They did such a good job that I won't even complain. I feel like if this was made from China, like I said, they would have just did it really like, I don't know, half-assed, I guess, and just not really cared about it as much, I guess. It's just odd. What is this now? Like the 10th, 12th, I don't know, 15th McQueen that we did from Cars 3? Who cares? Just slap it together, But Thailand actually took the time and made this diecast really, really beautiful. I gotta be honest. The windows even have some detail on them. Like, that is just so cool. They really did knock it out of the park. 95 on the roof there. Of course, the modern-looking Rusty's logo on the hood and the spoiler. It's a little bit grainy on the spoiler. I don't know why. It's always been like that from Thailand. They've never been able to, use the same quality for that. I don't know why. But, yeah, on the back, again, big Rusty's text, 95. And it's funny because we just actually reviewed the Rusty's Racing Center McQueen color changer. So, yeah, this feels kind of like deja vu to me. I was just looking at this guy, but not this one in particular. But, yeah, he does have the holes in the base, so Mater can tow him. I don't believe I have a Mater on hand, so that's unfortunate. But, oh well, Mater wasn't in the scene, so it doesn't matter. But, yeah. I guess that's pretty much it. I just want to show you him next to, of course, the regular Rusty's Racing Center McQueen. I know it's not the Thailand one, it's the Chinese one. I don't have the Thailand one opened. I do have one, but I just never opened it because it's not really all that much different. It's darker. It's definitely darker. You can tell. It's not just because this is the muddy one. He is just generally darker. I think it looks more accurate sometimes, I guess. Not all the time. I guess it depends on the lighting, what shot you see him with the paint job in the movie, but I don't know. It just looks really nice. And you know what's a McQueen variant I'd really like from Cars 3? It's another Rusty's Racing Center one, but it's the one I would like to call it Midnight Run or Midnight Jump. Either way works. Lightning McQueen. I think that would be really, really cool. Midnight Run, I think sounds better. Midnight Run Lightning McQueen. When all of the foil, because this is just a foil wrap, of course. Once it starts coming off, it starts peeling back, that would be the coolest McQueen ever, with a very determined looking expression. That would be perfect. Do that, Mattel. Come on. You gotta release that. It's like the last McQueen they have to do. Well, I guess they have to do the one with the headset too. But other than that, it's pretty much the last one they have to do, so why not do it, Mattel? I also have the sandy version, but I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at the quality. This is how China did sand. I know it's not mud, but come on, it's pretty much the same thing, just white. And look how bad they did it. Like they just made the entire wheels same color, that beachy sand color, and then they just slap the Lightyear text over it, and then they just put some very like cheap, like low grade decals on him to kind of look like sand. But I mean, he doesn't actually look like this in the movie. All they really need to do is just make him look dusty, and then put a little bit of detail onto the wheels, but not cover it, and then slap the Lightyear text over it. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't look good. They put a little bit on the back too. Come on, it just looks awful. It really does look awful. Even though I did get this one, it was kind of cool in the 4-pack. Still, I can admit it's kind of an awful release. I remember going to get it too at Target in the States. Made a special trip to go get it, and some other cars too at the time. But either way, that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say for this guy. He looks phenomenal. One of the best Highlander releases I think ever, and it's great that we got him re-released in 2023 with Breaker Boggs as a single and in the 5-pack, and I hope he comes back one day. I know, well, kind of. He's not really a McQueen variant that needs to be released all the time, but if they want to, I won't complain because I think he's so cool looking. Either way, I'm so happy I finally have him added to my collection. Let me know what you think of him down in the comments below. Thank you as always for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time right here on the Cars Garage.